Yeah, absolutely. I just want to pivot back to that first point, and that's the internal fractures that you've described inside Israel itself. I mean, what we see in the West, and you know this far better than I do, is that we get the impression that the society is cohesive as a whole, and it's popular support for the Gaza war in particular, and also for what's happening in the West Bank. And you also draw the distinction in the book between the state of Judea and the state of Israel. So can you just give us a little bit more insight
It,
into what you mean by
yeah,
this internal fracture and how much that actually has, how much of a chance that actually have, to bring about some change in the Israeli government?
yeah. So we have to look at it the other way around in a way. Uh, the idea in Israel was that whatever are the internal dissent or disagreements, there's a common enemy. And in the time that you face the common enemy, all the disagreements are forgotten and we're all united. Now, this may be true for the short wars that Israel had, 6 days war, 3 weeks war in 1973. No, this cannot, when we see it's happening, folding in front of our eyes, this kind of unity cannot be held for 2 years. So, to begin with, yes, there was a total support for everyone in the Jewish society for the Israeli military operation in the Gaza Strip as a reaction to the 7th of October 2023 Hamas attack. But then all the dissent and conflict, the internal conflict that preceded the 7th of October, by which you had two entities, and I will describe them in a minute, fighting for the whole, everything that the state can offer in terms of institutions and powers, that internal conflict reappeared about 6 or 7 months into the war. So for half a year, you had a sense of a cohesion, and it affected the dissent affected every aspect. Maybe this is not reported enough in the world, but even on the issue of the hostages, a certain camp, which I call the State of Judea, and I'll explain in a minute what I mean by that. The State of Judea was not that concerned about the fate of the hostages because they belong to the other camp, to the liberal, secular camp. So they showed no much compassion for them, and
These are people from the
that told,
kibbutzim, etc., right?
yeah, exactly. People
Yeah.
also gathered to be the left of Israel.
Mm.
They're the ones who
Mm.
mostly were either killed or abducted. Um, and and um, and they were attacked. The families were attacked as traitors and as undermining the military effort. So the cohesion isn't there anymore. It wasn't there. The, the the war or the genocide or the operation, call it what you want, cannot gloss over the kind of division that occurred, I would say, at the beginning of this century between what I call the State of Judea, that is a group, an ideological movement that grew in the Jewish settlements in the West Bank and gain more and more support among the less well-off sections of the Israeli society, mainly people from originally from North African Jewish origin, and from Orthodox and traditional Jewish people, creating this vision of a state that is run by religious law, that does not need democracy, nor does it have any inhibitions in dealing with the Palestinians and even with the Arab neighbors, recreating this ancient kingdom that everybody would respect and fear, not only in Palestine, but all over the Arab world. And luckily, there are these populist allies like Trump, populist fascist leaders in Europe, Modi in India, and so on. So they didn't even feel that they were isolated internationally, not to mention that some of the Arab rulers were very willing to go along with this kind of a vision of a future. The state of Israel is the old state, the one that tried unsuccessfully, one should say, but at least tried to reconcile universal values as democracy, socialism, and liberalism with the idea of a racist ethnic state. They didn't succeed, but at least they attempted. And they created at least a democracy for the Jews in Israel, if not for the Palestinians in it. And they were already losing the battle before the 7th of October 2023. And the events of the 7th of October and after that do not help the chances of success. In fact, it led to a huge immigration. We don't know the numbers, but hundreds of thousands of what I call the State of Israel residents, if you want, left with their money because they have dual nationality, because they have jobs that they can ignite elsewhere. So all of it creates not only a kind of a cold civil war, it creates a vacuum in the elite. And in fact, the only bastion remaining that the state of Judea hasn't taken over is the judicial system. But they are doing their best now to complete the mission there as well.